Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Somar Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniels, she's way out there in Studio Northwest. This is the June 10th, 2026, 324th edition. Coming up, it's Mansfield news, talk, and information. Let's check the stories we're covering this week.
School board president responds to residency allegations.
Upgrades coming soon to Rose Park. In a moment with the mayor. Storms keep Mansfield fire crews busy Saturday night. And 3 arrested after Mansfield's shoplifting investigation leads to hot pursuit.
Summit principal makes national news again.
Mansfield plans for National Night Out in October.
Thousands show up to see Team Czechia at Mansfield Stadium.
About Mansfield receives a promotion. And in sports, high school football players conditioning for the fall season.
And in the talk segment, Steve concludes his in-studio conversation with local businessman Allen Constantino. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey, it's Luke with Cool Hand Electric and Air. Are your lights flickering? Is your AC struggling to keep up? Well, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are the local experts who fix it right the first time with a smile. Plus, 10% of our profits go to First Look and Waxahachie, so your project helps a family's future. At Cool Hand Electric and Air, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo with an invitation to picture Europe the way you've always imagined it. Morning mist rising off the river, hillsides glowing in autumn color, castles appearing through fog as your ship glides gently past. This is the Rhine River in the fall. Paradigm Travel Agency is hosting a Rhine River cruise November 12th through the 19th. Aboard the elegant Ama Lucia, sailing from Amsterdam to Basel. You'll stroll through medieval streets, enjoy warm meals and local wine, and wake up somewhere beautiful every day. No rushing, no repacking, just a relaxed journey through Storybook Europe. For more information, contact Claudine at ParadigmTravelAgency.com. Use the promo code MP111226.
Looking for a night out that's anything but ordinary? Step into Vault Seafood and Steakhouse, Mansfield's premier upscale dining experience. Savor perfectly aged steaks, fresh seafood, and handcrafted cocktails, all served in a stunning atmosphere. Want more? Enjoy private dining rooms and a cigar lounge for that extra touch of luxury. Vault delivers exceptional flavor in a one-of-a-kind atmosphere. Located at Matlock and Country Club, Vault Seafood and Steakhouse. Unforgettable nights. Unmatched taste.
Hi, I'm Mansfield ISD Chief of Police, Greg Minter, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by Vault Seafood and Steakhouse.
Mansfield ISD officials say an independent review has concluded that board president Dr. Jandel Crutchfield is legally eligible to serve on the district's board of trustees. In a statement released Friday evening, the Mansfield ISD Board of Trustees said District Council hired an independent investigator to examine allegations regarding Crutchfield's residency and eligibility. According to the district, the review included utility bills, mortgage and bank records, other documents, and personal interviews. The district said the investigation found that Crutchfield has been a resident of Mansfield ISD since at least 2018 and remains eligible to serve on the board. The Board of Trustees thanked the community for its patience and said it remains focused on serving Mansfield ISD students, staff, and families.
And Colleen, in a separate statement released Monday morning, Dr. Crutchfield outlined how she plans to use her public platform as board president. She said her social media communications will focus on district priorities, board updates, student and staff achievements, community engagement opportunities, and requests for public input. Dr. Crutchfield also said she does not intend to use her platform for personal attacks, divisive content, or commentary on investigations involving herself or others. She called for respectful public dialogue and expressed appreciation for those who have offered support during the past several weeks. The board president also said she remains committed to serving Mansfield ISD students and staff and intends to continue focusing on the work of the district. The Mansfield City Council held a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday evening. The following opinions, those of Michael Evans, may not necessarily reflect those of the Mansfield City Council, as we do every other Tuesday morning. Top of the morning, Mayor Michael Evans.
Top of the morning to you, my friend. Good to see you today.
You were out busy Saturday. I was out busy Saturday,
Yes.
but we were at separate events, and
Yes.
your event sounded just as big as mine.
It was a huge event. We celebrated the 100th birthday of Dr. Opal Lee. She's called the grandmother of Juneteenth. And, of course, she is famous for literally walking to Washington, D.C. to make sure that Juneteenth was declared Freedom Day, Freedom Holiday for the enslaved people here in the United States of America. So it was a big event. And let me tell you something. That lady at 100 years old is still articulate. She is still just as powerful now as she was at 80.
Something we can all aspire to be.
Outstanding. I tell you, she is definitely one of my heroes.
And then About Mansfield was out at the Team Czechia community practice at the brand new Mansfield Stadium, and that was quite the turnout too. I'm sorry we missed you there.
Missed you all, but I tell you what, the photographs were fantastic. Yeah. I saw nothing but smiles, and I really appreciated the way that the Czechia team just interacted with the crowd, with the kids in particular. And listen, that place is going to be the showcase here in the city of Mansfield. Listen, wait till 4th of July.
Oh,
My God, that's going to be mind-boggling.
Let's get into what happened on Monday evening. Started with zoning changes.
Yes, sir. We were about the people's business, so we did start with zone changes. One of them was a public hearing, first reading on an ordinance considering a request by Winkleman and Associates. This is for actually, Steve, a Kroger's that will be located at the Barrington Way, South US 287, Hanley Lane, and approximately 150 feet south of Ambrose Parkway. How about that?
I know exactly where that is.
Yes, sir. So that's going to be something that we'll continue to talk about. This was the first reading. Another first reading concerned actually a hotel site. This was a public hearing, of course, and as I said, a first reading for a commercial development located, if you would, right at Heritage Parkway, west of US 287. So, a lot of development taking place here in Mansfield. So you've got a Kroger that may be coming, and you have also a Courtyard Hotel that may be coming. But again, that was the first reading, so it has to go through 2 readings and be approved on both occasions.
Then you got into the consent agenda.
Yes, sir. We got into the consent agenda. We passed a $293,000 contract for work related to Bryn Sap channel repairs to preserve the integrity and drainage of our bridges and channels. We need that. This rain, I tell you, it reminds you of the work that we continue to do in our city. The other was a $97,000 contract for the construction of flume improvements for the Shannon Creek subdivision, and another $84,000 contract with Park Hill, Inc. for landscape architecture services at Catherine Rose Park. We're getting ready for phase 2 of park development there. Now, people are loving phase 1. Phase 2 is where you're going to have the basketball courts, the pickleball courts. You're going to also have the tennis court, and the soccer field. So it's going to be a lot across the street from Rose Park. And I thank the residents for continuing to support the parks here in Mansfield.
Let's talk about the work session. You got into that after the consent agenda.
Yes, sir. It's budget time again. We've got to present. Yes, sir. We've got to present a balanced budget here for our residents, and we're working on that. So we're looking at the fiscal year 2026, 2027. So we started with some budget updates, and staff presented the budget timeline, which is really a high-level overview of departmental requests, properties, sales tax, that kind of stuff. Now, here's what's important. Future meetings are going to be taking place, and we're asking the residents to please come out and tune in, to see how their tax dollars contribute to keeping our community safe, providing essential services, and improving our quality of life. So, those meetings are going to be happening from now all the way through September. So again, we need the public to come out and listen and even talk to us.
Sure,
give us their opinions.
Well, there is a council chat coming up.
There is definitely a council chat coming up, and also people get to actually chat with us every other week.
That's right.
During public comments, our public comments continue to be 5 minutes, and we just need to hear from our folks. It's important.
And that was a wrap for the evening.
Yes, sir.
But
there was a wrap for the evening.
There are some events coming up that we should tell the people about. You know
what? We have a lot of events coming up. There are going to be more opportunities to learn about the Czech Republic, learn about the Czech culture, which I love. And speaking of culture, you got the Taste of Black Mansfield coming up on Saturday, the 20th. You've got Juneteenth. It's going to be at Guyer Fields. All of that. I mean, it just highlights the richness that is Mansfield. We've got a big unifying event that's going to be taking place. As a matter of fact, even and this is in August. You'll hear more about that, commemorating the 70th anniversary of the attempt to desegregate the schools here in MISD. And it's a commemorative and a celebratory event because we're going to be highlighting where we have come from. I mean, man, look at us, as a growing city. So a lot of excitement. This is going to be a summer full of activity, and it's going to touch everybody. So I'm just hoping everybody will just get involved and just listen. Shop Mansfield, enjoy Mansfield, play in Mansfield.
And it all starts with the Czech Stop event taking place at Guyer Commons.
Yes, sir.
People need to go check it out.
They need to check it out and all be Czech mates.
There you go. And also a note to the listeners, vacation coming up. So while you guys are enjoying Czech Stop and Juneteenth and Taste of Black Mansfield, I'll be in Montana and enjoying 45-degree nights.
Wow. Listen, enjoy yourself. And boy, those mountainous views I hear are just like heaven sent. So have a good time. You deserve it. You're a hard-working man.
I appreciate that. And that, my friends, is what we call a moment with the mayor. That is Mayor Michael Evans. As we say, go forth
and prosper, sir.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Mansfield firefighters responded to two significant emergencies Saturday evening as thunderstorms moved through the area. Around 7:25 p.m., crews were dispatched to a two-vehicle crash at East Debbie Lane and Matlock Road. Firefighters arrived to find one vehicle on its side and worked to safely extricate two trapped occupants. Both patients were transported to a local hospital and were reported to be in stable condition. About an hour later, firefighters responded to a house fire on Plumeria Drive. According to the Mansfield Fire Department, the two-story home was reportedly struck by lightning, resulting in a fire. Crews quickly brought the fire under control and prevented further damage to the residents. No injuries were reported in the fire, although the family was displaced from the home overnight. The Mansfield Fire Department also acknowledged assistance from the Grand Prairie Fire Department during the structure fire response.
3 people were arrested Monday afternoon following a reported shoplifting incident at a Target store here in Mansfield that led to a high-speed police pursuit and crash in Dallas. According to Mansfield police, officers responded around 3 p.m. to a report of shoplifting in progress at the Target on North US 287. Using the department's drone as first responder program, investors located the suspect vehicle and obtained its license plate number. Police later learned that the vehicle had been reported stolen earlier in the day in Richardson. When police officers attempted to stop the vehicle, it fled, leading to a high-speed pursuit with speeds reportedly over 100 miles per hour. Investigators determined that 2 suspects were inside the vehicle, while a third suspect was abandoned inside the store. The pursuit ended on Interstate 20 in Dallas when the suspect vehicle, a gray Toyota Camry, collided with a Chevy Suburban that was stopped on the shoulder following an unrelated traffic accident. Authorities say the occupants of the Suburban were outside their vehicle at the time of the crash. Police identified the suspects as 65-year-old Nelson Murray, 62-year-old Willie McNeely, and 63-year-old Erwin Rowland. Murray faces charges including unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, evading arrest with a vehicle, and engaging in organized retail theft, while McNeely and Rowland are also charged with engaging in organized retail theft. Police recovered nearly $400 in alleged stolen merchandise from Rowland and close to $1,200 worth of additional merchandise from the vehicle. No injuries were reported, and the investigation remains ongoing.
It was back in 1968 when famed artist Andy Warhol coined the phrase, quote, "In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes," end quote. Lightning has struck twice for Summit High School principal Jason Mutterer, or Coach Mutt as he's known on campus. Last year, in June of 2025, Coach Mutt handed out 443 handwritten notes, each accompanied by a $1 bill, to every senior at graduation. The gesture landed Mutterer on NBC's Today Show. This year's Summit graduation took a different twist. The 494 graduating seniors wrote a letter to Mutterer. This heart-tugging moment landed him on ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
The incredible surprise for a beloved high school principal from his students right in the middle of their graduation ceremony. Mansfield Summit High School principal Jason Mutterer, known as Coach Mutt to his students.
Coach Mutt was the first Summit High School boys head basketball coach back in 2002, served as the school's assistant principal, and then took principal duties in 2023. Thanks to ABC News and WFAA for the audio.
The City of Mansfield is encouraging residents to take part in the annual National Night Out event. Now, it may seem a little early as National Night Out doesn't take place until October, but it's never too early for neighborhoods and subdivisions to start planning. The annual event brings neighbors together with local law enforcement to promote community engagement and crime prevention. City officials say National Night Out helps strengthen relationships between residents and police, while encouraging neighborhood involvement. Now, last year, Mansfield placed 4th in the state of Texas among the cities in its population category for National Night Out participation. Organizers hope to increase participation in 2026. Neighborhood groups interested in hosting an event can register through the Mansfield Police Department. Registration requests may be submitted through September 1st to allow time for planning and coordination. Additional information, including neighborhood planning resources, is available through the City of Mansfield's National Night Out webpage.
Thousands of soccer fans gathered at Mansfield Stadium Saturday morning to welcome Team Czechia as the national squad held a public training session ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The Czech team will use Mansfield Stadium as its official base camp during the tournament, bringing international attention to the city as North Texas prepares to host World Cup matches this summer. About Mansfield spoke with Czech nationals Sonia, Chenda, and Donna, who made the trip from Dallas to watch their home country's team practice.
Your thoughts about this stadium versus stadiums in your hometown?
Oh, I like it. It's beautiful. It's new. It's got a great vibe. Weather, it's really hot, but other than that, great, for sure.
What is the weather like in Czechia this time of year?
In Czechia, there is cooler during the summer, and we have also winter with the snow and other stuff.
So when you got here this morning and the clouds were here and it was a little windy, it's a little different right now.
It was pretty nice.
And you're looking forward to a Czechia game?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we were very happy that they won the first one with Guatemala, so we were really happy. So we are looking forward to what they can do.
The fans joined supporters of all ages, waving Czech flags and hoping for an autograph or selfie with players as they prepare for competition on soccer's biggest stage. Mansfield was selected as Team Czechia's home base, and even though the team will reside in downtown Fort Worth, Mansfield Stadium will serve as the team's training headquarters throughout its stay in North Texas during the World Cup. Czechia's group round matches will be played June 11th in Guadalajara, June 18th in Atlanta, and June 24th in Mexico City.
And now, a second to toot our own horn. About Mansfield News Talk has been named the official local media partner of North Texas Soccer Club. The partnership comes as North Texas SC prepares to begin its play at Mansfield Stadium with its inaugural home match scheduled for July 4th. Under the agreement, About Mansfield News Talk will provide coverage of the club throughout the remainder of the 26th season and into 2027, including match previews, game recaps, player interviews, and community-focused stories. North Texas SC, the MLS Next Pro affiliate of FC Dallas, will play its home matches at the new Mansfield Stadium, bringing professional soccer to Mansfield for the first time. In-depth coverage from About Mansfield will begin with the club's debut match here in Mansfield. The partnership is designed to increase local awareness of the team while providing listeners and followers with regular coverage of players, matches, and club activities both on and off the field. Additional information about North Texas SC, including schedules and ticket information, is available through the club's website at northtexassc.com. Summer football work begins across Mansfield ISD. We'll talk about it because sports is next.
Hungry for bold flavor and a good time? Head on over to El Primo's to enjoy sizzling fajitas and their signature blue margarita. Enjoy weekend live entertainment and let the kids run wild with an outdoor play area and arcade. Planning a party? Multiple private rooms are available, including the all-new Parrot's Nest to make your event a success. Food, fun, and flavor for the whole family at El Primo's. Visit elprimos.net and bring your appetite. Located at Matlock and Country Club. El Primo's, where the locals go.
This summer, be the super parent of the season with the Hawaiian Falls Staycation Splash Pass. For just $49.99, get unlimited visits to your home park all summer long. Skip the hassle of travel. It's time for heart-racing slides, relaxing lazy rivers, wave pool adventures, and unforgettable memories right in your own backyard. All of the fun, none of the fuss. Make this the summer they'll never forget with the Staycation Splash Pass from Hawaiian Falls. Get yours now at hfalls.com. That's hfalls.com.
In sports, with spring high school sports now in the rearview mirror, attention has turned to the football field across Mansfield ISD. Summer strength and conditioning programs are all underway at the 5 district high schools, Mansfield, Legacy, Lake Ridge, Summit, and Timberview, as athletes begin preparing for the 26th season. Coaches are using the summer months to build strength, improve speed and conditioning, and install foundation for fall practices. Summer football camps and workouts are also giving younger athletes an opportunity to learn from high school coaches and players. Mansfield ISD's annual summer sports camp schedule includes football programs hosted at the district's high schools, with participation open to students throughout the community. Official preseason practices don't start until August, but for many players, the road to Friday Night Lights has already begun. And that, my friends, is a look at sports. This coming Saturday, June 13th, is National Weed Your Garden Day, which goes hand in hand with last week's National Garden Exercise Day. National Weed Your Garden Day is a reminder that sometimes the most important gardening isn't planting, it's pulling. Weeds compete with flowers, vegetables, and shrubs for water, sunlight, and nutrients. Left unchecked, they can quickly take over a garden and undo months of hard work. But the good news, experts say that the best time to weed is after a rain or watering while the soil is still soft and the roots come out more easily. Gardeners are encouraged to spend a few minutes removing unwanted plants, adding mulch to prevent future growth, and giving their gardens a fresh start for the summer season. Now, this Saturday, grab a pair of gloves, a garden trowel, and maybe a little patience in recognition of National Weed Your Garden Day, a day dedicated to winning the never-ending battle between gardeners and weeds. And let's be honest, the weeds usually don't take a day off.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
I'm Angel Biasatti. Today, we're discussing a topic that affects millions of families: dementia and cognitive decline. In Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Not every drink needs to be bold. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do in the middle of Texas summer is find something cold, something clean, and something that makes you feel like you've got this under control.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Primo's Mansfield, where the locals go.
Hey, it's Luke with Cool Hand Electric and Air. Are your lights flickering? Is your AC struggling to keep up? Well, our solution-oriented cool hands are the local experts who fix it right the first time with a smile. Plus, 10% of our profits go to First Look and Waxahachie, so your project helps a family's future. At Cool Hand Electric and Air, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Congratulations to Brittany Stair, who was the first person to correctly answer last week's Mansfield trivia question. What was the Blessing Funeral Home's 2-story building originally used for in 1877? Brittany knew that the Mansfield male and female college founder, Dr. John Collier, and his family occupied the lower floor while the upper floor housed some of the female educators and students. And here's a fun fact. It was the first house in Mansfield to have indoor plumbing. Looking for the weekly, highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield trivia question? You can find it every Wednesday on the About Mansfield Facebook page. So log on to Facebook right now and hit the About Mansfield News Talk page. As always, the first person to email the correct answer will win a $25 restaurant gift card, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance. Good luck.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tiffany Spencer, Mansfield ISD Superintendent, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here to talk about the link between food and brain health in Methodist Mansfield. News to know. Angel?
Today, we're discussing a topic that affects millions of families: dementia, and cognitive decline, and how the foods we eat may play a larger role in brain health than many people realize. Recent research is shedding new light on the connection between nutrition and dementia risk, especially when it comes to ultra-processed foods. There are new findings published and insights from experts at Harvard Medical School and Monash University. Researchers found that increasing ultra-processed foods, things like chips, packaged snacks, sugary cereal, fast food, and heavily processed meals by just 10% in a person's daily diet was associated with increased risk of dementia and measurable declines in attention and processing speeds. In fact, researchers said that adding just one standard serving of processed snack foods each day could impact the cognitive performance over time. Ultra-processed foods already make up more than half of the average American adult diet, and studies continue to link them to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, depression, and now potentially cognitive decline. Barbara Cardoso, leading researcher and nutrition expert from Monash University, explained that participants with higher consumption of ultra-processed foods consistently scored lower on cognitive tests measuring memory, visual attention, and mental processing. And experts say the concern goes beyond memory loss alone. The brain is one of the most energy-demanding organs, using roughly 20% of the calories we consume. That means the quality of food we eat can directly influence how well our brains function. This encouraging news is that research also shows small dietary improvements may help reduce dementia risk over time. Studies suggest replacing processed foods with more whole and minimally processed foods can significantly lower the risk of cognitive decline. Experts continue to point toward eating patterns like the Mediterranean diet, DASH diet, and MIND diet as some of the most brain-friendly approaches to nutrition. These diets emphasize eating fruit and vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, healthy fats like olive oil, lean proteins and fish, and limiting sugar and heavily processed foods. Researchers have also found potential brain health benefits from foods rich in nutrients like choline and DHA, including eggs, leafy greens, nuts, and fatty fish. One recent study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that adults who regularly consumed eggs have up to a 27% lower risk of Alzheimer's disease compared to those who did not. Brain health experts say the key isn't perfection, it's progress. Replacing even one ultra-processed food each day with a healthier option may make a meaningful difference over time. A psychiatrist and brain health expert, Daniel Amen, shared, "You're not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better, and it starts with the next bite." That message is powerful because it reminds us that many lifestyle choices, including nutrition, can help support healthier aging and cognitive wellness. I'm Angel Biasatti reporting for About Mansfield podcast.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up something cold and clean in this week's Cocktail of the Week. Brian.
Welcome back to the Cocktail of the Week, brought to you by Bourbon Gospel. I am your ever-fun host, Brian Certain, and we are 1 week into June's theme, Smoking Hot and Stirred. Last week, we brought the smoke and the mezcal. This week, we're going to cool things down just slightly because even the boldest month needs a moment of restraint. A drink that's bright, a little charred, and built for the kind of afternoon where the shade is your best friend. This week's feature is a mocktail forward, and it's not playing around. Meet the Charred Lemon Ricky. The Charred Lemon Ricky is a mocktail version. I'll give you the full alcohol version afterwards, but I do want to feature this as I'm doing every month. I'm choosing one of my mocktails and highlighting it, and I'm going to continue this pattern for those of you who have made the choice not to drink, and I salute you for that. But in this drink, we're going to take 2 charred lemon halves, juiced, about 1.5 ounces, char cut side down or cast iron for about 3 minutes. We're going to add a 1/2 ounce of honey syrup, 4 ounces of sparkling water or club soda, and then 2 dashes of non-alcoholic bitters. The garnish is the charred lemon wheel and fresh thyme sprig. Glassware. You know what I'm really feeling? I'm really feeling that this one is going to either be a highball or a Collins glass. And then, as always, fresh ice cubes. You're going to build this drink over ice, adding the charred lemon juice, the honey syrup, top with the sparkling water, stir once, garnish and serve. It's shockingly good for something with 4 ingredients. For the cocktail version, add 2 ounces of bourbon to the above before topping with sparkling water. Stir rather than shaking. The carbonation does the mixing for you. The charred lemon and the bourbon have a natural affinity that's hard to explain and very easy to drink. The Ricky is a Washington, D.C. original created in the 1880s and named after Democratic lobbyist named Colonel Joe Rickey, who allegedly preferred his whiskey with lime and carbonated water. Over time, the format evolved to include gin, vodka, and bourbon variations, but the core idea, spirit or not, citrus bubbles, has never gone out of style. Charring the lemon does something unexpected. It mellows the acidity slightly while adding a faint bitterness and depth that makes the drink taste far more considered than its ingredients list suggests. There's a real skill in simplicity, in knowing when to add more and when to step back and edit and let the ingredients do their job. This drink is proof that you don't need 10 components to build something worth drinking. But as always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with the conclusion of Steve's in-studio talk with local business owner Allen Constantino.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Paula Giamo Morales, Tarrant County Jury Bailiff, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And today we present part 2 of our interview with the Pie Master, Allen Constantino. Enjoy. You became an Arlington police officer. You started while raising kids. You have 2 kids,
correct?
A son and a daughter. In that order. The difficulties of being a young police officer and raising kids at the same time.
Very challenging. So
okay.
You know, when you're a rookie. And I was an instructor at the academy for many years. We, you know, as a rookie, you come out, you're already told in the academy you're not going to have good days off. You're not going to work day shift. You know, most likely you'll be working evenings with Tuesday, Wednesday off. You won't have any of the holidays off. Yeah. You know, so it's basically, as we say in the military, embrace the suck, right? You have to embrace the suck.
I've not heard that before.
Okay. And so you do, because as soon as I finished the academy, I was cut loose on East evenings with Tuesday, Wednesdays off.
Okay.
You know, during that time, I think what was challenging is that, you know, you just to find time to spend with your family, you know, because then you have rotating schedules with you and your spouse. The probability that your spouse has the regular Saturday, Sunday off, and then you're off Tuesday, Wednesday, or even better is when you're on midnights and your sleep schedule is off.
Oh, yeah.
With those Tuesday, Wednesdays off. And then your family is all in regular mode, waking up during the day and going to sleep at night. You know, so there's a lot of challenges raising a family as a police officer, as a young police officer. But over the years, you know, after a couple of years, I was able to get into some units and then have weekends off, you know, and be on day shift, you know. But I will say that raising our 2 children, our 2 children is always a priority between my wife and I.
24/7.
That's it.
And you don't get to ask for holidays off. They tell you which holidays you get off.
You can ask for it, but doesn't mean you always get it.
Exactly.
You know, because you know, at least in our department, everything is seniority based, and so as a new young officer, I already knew. Don't even worry about it. Don't even try to bother. But I will say that, you know, the administration was very supportive. So if there were officers that needed time off to attend a wedding or a special event, know, then they'll work with their guys.
You were an officer for how long?
Almost 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, just short of 25 years.
And I know there are other ranks than officer. Did you have a rank other than officer when you retired?
So when I retired, I was a detective.
Okay.
Because I promoted in the military. As soon as you start promoting, then you start leaving some of the jobs that were fun and what made you do or enlist or join the military. Yeah. And so I used that. I wanted to be a cop to put bad guys in jail, you know? And I loved my job. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed that long. But I did it. I knew that with promoting, you would start leaving some of the major roles, which caused me to join this profession. And so going back to that also, and this is on a side note, you know, when you promote, then you also go down to a different seniority. You know, you go to the sergeant seniority. So any of the department seniority that I had would change. And so going back to that, my wife and I told her that I wanted to be a cop. I loved it. And so what I did is I worked patrol. I did a little bit of collateral duties as a SWAT officer, and then I was a training officer, and then I ended my career probably with about just shy of 16, 17 years as a detective, working everything from property crimes to major crimes, and that's where I ended. I ended up as a federal task force officer with a federal agency, and so I was tasked with that agency for the last 4 years of my career.
Just like your first touchdown hangs with you forever, is there a case that you'll never forget? Yeah, so probably one of the things I think in police work, there were two things that I didn't like. Number one were going into backyards and then having dogs surprise you. Right? We had 2 dogs. My dogs are small miniature Labradoodles. You know, they're about 12, 13 pounds. My partner and I went into this backyard one day and, just talking it up. And every time you go into the backyard, they tell you call out. And so you're whistling, you're hitting, waiting for a reaction, and nothing happened. And so my partner and I decided to go into the back of this house to check it out because it was a burglar alarm. And lo and behold, there was a Rottweiler, a full-blown Rottweiler, just sitting there, you could see his teeth. And salivating. Yeah. And my partner and I just backpedaled slowly. And then as soon as we hit the corner, I could hear his feet. Because he started running, which in turn made me run. And then he was holding the gate. And by that time, the Rottweiler's in full pursuit. And then he shuts the door. And so that was one of the things that, getting bit by a dog, I was never fond of. And then my last thing that was high-speed pursuits. Man, I hated high-speed pursuits. Just because you just never know what's going on, you know? Everything else about the job was fine. But as far as cases go, I think probably I spent about 6 months working in our Crimes Against Children unit. Wow. And so when I did that, I was voluntold to work in that unit. Sure. I did a 6-month rotation in that unit. But I will say that it was probably some of the most rewarding work that I've had in my law enforcement career. Give us an example of what you did in that division. So in Crimes Against Children, you work a lot of sexual abuse cases against children. And what made it tough at the time was my daughter was that age of a lot of the victims that I worked, you know? And so when you talk about a memorable case, when I went in there, they would tell me, how it was, and in interviewing some of these suspects. And so some of the other senior detectives in that unit also talked about how some of the mothers of the victims would stand up for the abusers. And so my very first sexual assault case that I worked on a young female, when it came down to trial, that mother was not supportive at all, and it was very hard to see that kind of come back around and then not feel sympathetic for the victim. That, the mother is supposed to protect you, but here she is standing up for the boyfriend or the stepfather or whatever, It's very hard to see some of those emotional, some of the emotional baggage that comes with law enforcement, Let's change the temperature of the room.
Yes, please.
Say something nice about your kids.
Please. So my children, looking at that, my children are my wife and I's legacy.
Sure.
Right? So when I talked about earlier that, I went down the wrong path. I took the path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. I made sure that my children didn't. And so, as you probably may have seen and done your research, my son graduated from A&M. Mm-hmm. He was on a full ROTC scholarship, and then he got a big scholarship from the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, at the time. And so he went to A&M on a full ride. And he did me a solid because I didn't pay for his education. So thank you to Uncle Sam.
There you go.
And so what I did was I reflected back on my upbringing, and I made sure that when my son was applying for college, that he applied for everything. He had his nomination to the Naval Academy, but he didn't get his final appointment because he broke his nose.
Wow.
Yeah. He was right there during COVID, right? And so he went from being medically qualified to pending a medical waiver. So during that time prior to that, even though he was attempting to get into the Naval Academy, we still went to A&M and took the Naval ROTC interview. We went to TCU and took the Army ROTC or Air Force ROTC interview. Mm-hmm. And then we went to UTA, and then he took his Army ROTC interview, and he got all three. And so when the time came that he got his denial letter to the Naval Academy, I said, "Where do you want to go?" And he says, "I still want to go Navy." So he went in and clicked on the acceptance, and then it was A&M for him, A&M bound. And so then he graduated as a mechanical engineer, and now he is a nuclear engineer for the Navy.
Wow.
So, yeah, my son wanted to fly, but I think Uncle Sam said, "No, we paid for that engineering degree. We're going to put you
on a ship somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna use that brain of yours." So he is now on board the USS Ashland and is coming back from a 6-month West Pacific deployment where he got to visit Guam, the Philippines, Thailand, Hawaii, So
that's a nice tour.
Yeah, he had a great tour. And so then that's my son. My daughter is now in her second year of nursing school. She also did very well for herself. She was on a academic and athletic scholarship for volleyball.
Okay.
And she attended Southeastern Oklahoma State, where she took her undergrad. And then after 3 years playing collegiate volleyball, she then transferred straight into nursing. And so now she is attending UNT South, the medical campus down in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And so she's now in her second year. She just actually started her third semester, and she's on her second class.
Is she a daddy's little girl?
Most definitely.
Yeah,
she's daddy's little girl, and my son is mama's boy.
Okay.
So.
Son never says, well, how come she gets to do that and I don't?
No. I think that's the thing is that, when he was, he's always been a great big brother. And I'm very glad that both of them are almost best friends. They're very supportive of each other's careers. I remembered when I got to drive cross country with my son, my daughter always said she missed him, and she always wishes him well, so. But, and I'll show you a video later. When my son chose San Diego, I'll show you a video of my daughter watching his selection process of his ship as well as his first duty station. And the reason why they were there, I found out later, my daughter was urging Big Brother to pick San Diego so she could go out there and visit.
And vacation in San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
I can think of worse places to vacation. Having lived again 40 years in San Diego, it's a wonderful place.
It is. It is.
In fact, I noticed again doing some research, and the only thing that I could find on you was a Facebook page. You visited San Diego not too long ago.
Yes. Yeah. We go back, and I think that's one of the benefits of having your son being stationed there is that now you get to go back and have a reason, quote unquote, right, to go and visit your son. But in actuality, my wife and I are getting a chance to, go hang out and enjoy the weather. We really, I think California is a great place to visit. But for me, Texas is our home. Texas is our children's home. You asked both my children, my daughter is thinking about being a travel nurse, but, she knows and she'll tell you Texas is her home. And my son, too, once he's done, he thinks he'll be a lifer for the Navy. But, he says that he'll most likely come back to Texas.
When you retired from the Arlington Police Department, what got you into selling pies?
Yeah, so that's a story, right, Steve? So I can tell you that I think a lot of officers, a lot of individuals in my profession, we tend to, and what I started seeing as I got closer to I hit my 20-year mark. First of all, let me tell you, what's the difference between a fireman and a police officer, Steve? A fireman will tell you how long he's been on the job. A cop will tell you how long before he retires.
Oh, okay.
So that's that was me. As soon as I hit my 20-year mark, it was always thinking about what to do next. I always had my family on my insurance because I always did.
Yeah,
and so. I always told myself that I would stay another 2 years till my daughter graduated, but my wife said, she could come onto my insurance and you don't have to stay.
There you go.
And so what I did was, I love all my brothers and sisters in the profession, but I didn't want to go back, retire from police work, and then go work as an officer at another agency. That just didn't tickle my fancy, if you will. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to do something completely out of my wheelhouse. And so, in looking at it, I probably in my 24th year, I started searching, and then I always had my elevator speech, right? My 30-second elevator speech that I had my children practice, and I always made sure my children had a 30-second elevator speech. And so I started preparing my 30-second elevator speech. And I started getting interviews because, as I mentioned, when I worked with this federal agency, I would get into some of the contracts that they would have, and I would get to meet some of those civilian contractors and then start talking to them and practice my elevator speech. Well, none of those really attracted me. None of the offers really attracted me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until one day that one of my buddies, Mike Bearcat, he owned Buttermilk Sky Pie Shop in Mansfield. So Mike was in the Navy. The one thing about police work is that you are always going to be concerned about each other's family.
I got your back.
Always.
Yeah.
And so Mike and I.
Or as they say, I got your six.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Mike was a detective on the third floor, as I was. That's how we knew each other. But he was Navy. I was Army, and he knew my son was going Navy. So Mike and I just have lunch one day. And as we're talking, I knew he owned the pie shop because he retired from the PD and bought the pie shop. And so we just start talking. And as he's asking about me and my plans, the conversation turns to him and how's he doing now as a young entrepreneur and as a small business owner. And so he has told me about his growth and the trials and tribulations of owning a small business.
Oh, sure.
And so he told me that he had purchased the Mansfield Pie Shop and had purchased the Buttermilk Sky Pie Shop in Fort Worth. So he owned two of them.
Okay.
And so he was thinking of selling his first store because he was working on another business venture. And at that moment, Steve, is when I knew, let me shadow you. And I still tell this story to this day that I think God saw where I was, and he crossed our paths and said, here you go. And it was up to me now to take advantage of that opportunity. And so when I did that, I shadowed him. I went to his pie shops and I got to see his interaction. Nobody was wanting to fight him. He wasn't met with adversity, any defiance. People were smiling. It was nothing but pleasantry, Steve. And I said, this is what I need in my life.
And there's nothing wrong with pleasantry, is there?
None. And so that was what I was missing in my life. I was missing that interaction. I think what happens as a police officer, you start thinking that this is kind of how the world is, right? But and you have this skewed mentality. Mm-hmm. But it's just you dealing with a very small portion of the population that occupies about 85% of your time. And I always felt that there was so much more of the population that was very supportive of our profession. And what I loved about watching him work in the pie shop was simply that, just how the exchange of pleasantries was going on. And so I told my wife, I said, hey, he's thinking of selling. I think I want to buy it, you know? And so my wife was a little bit more conservative than me.
Sure.
But it wasn't until me and my wife had dinner with Mike and his wife. Mm-hmm. And then my wife got to speak to his wife and see how things were. And then from that point on, Steve, she was all in. And then we ended up purchasing the Buttermilk Sky Pie Shop on Broad Street.
Which was only about a year ago, less than a year ago?
Yeah, not even a year ago, about 9 months ago.
Right, because the ribbon cutting was somewhere around October, November, somewhere around there.
Yes, right around October.
Yeah.
And you were there.
And I was there.
That was the very first time our paths crossed, right?
That's right. And so Buttermilk Sky, you get into entrepreneurship by way of being a franchisee.
Yes, sir.
And Buttermilk, they train you how to make pies?
Yes. So my wife and I had to do a 2-week course down at their corporate kitchen in Knoxville.
Okay.
And so, of course, I'm retired. My wife had to work out a schedule where she could take that much time off. And so my wife and I went up to Knoxville and we learned how to bake pies. We started working. The very first Buttermilk Sky Pie Shop is still to this day running in the very same location. A very small 800 square foot standalone business right there, not too far from the UT campus, the University of Tennessee. In Knoxville. And so we got to work there for several days. And basically we did everything from opening the shop to baking pies, to closing the shop, And then we just learned everything also about businesses and marketing, stuff like that about owning the small business.
Customer service. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
I can tell you that, the community of Mansfield has been very, very welcoming, and I love them, right? We chose this city because obviously my wife and our family, we lived in Southwest Arlington for many, many years, two decades, and our children were playing select ball and select volleyball, all and practicing all up in Mansfield. And so every time I get to work my shop and I get to talk to my customers, number one, they do what surprises me is they actually get on my website, and they, as soon as they see me, they say, "Hey, you're the owner." And I say, "Yes, I am." And then they start talking about some of the bios that we have on our website, and so then we start talking, and then one thing leads to another, and then that quick purchase that could have been maybe 2 minutes has now talked into 5, 7, 10 minutes because now we're just talking.
You're building customer relationships as opposed to selling a pie.
Yeah.
You've enjoyed that so much in Mansfield, you have opened a second location.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've been blessed. My wife and I have been blessed. And so in January, taking over the pie shop in Mansfield was such a great experience. We learned so much because we took it over towards the end of the third, coming up on the fourth quarter, which, as you know, for us, that's our Super Bowl, right?
Oh, sure.
And so, you are doing everything, trial by fire, just jumping in both feet and learning.
Right. Thanksgiving's coming up, and right after Thanksgiving comes Christmas.
Yes,
and then,
yes. And so, doing that, as a business owner, you're always looking at your numbers, right? And I'll be proud that, when we took over that shop, we had the best fourth quarter, the best November that shop ever had.
Wow.
And I contribute that to going out there and just, number one, meeting the public, but number two, just the public support, going out there and then them just coming to our pie shop and showing the love, right? And so after that, my wife and I coming on into the first quarter of 2026, what we started doing was looking at the possibility of our second pie shop. And again, I think our paths were crossed with the owners of the Arlington Pie Shop. And I actually sought them out because as I was looking for an opportunity for our second pie shop, my wife and I were talking, did we want to start over from scratch somewhere new, or did we want to purchase something that was already pre-existing? Yeah. And it wasn't a hard choice for us, Steve, but when knowing the roots that I already had laid down in Arlington, serving that city for 25 years, it was a no-brainer for us to pursue the Arlington Pie Shop.
I could see a customer coming into Arlington's shop going, wait, you arrested me 5 years ago.
Yeah. Thankfully, knock on wood, that hasn't happened.
That hasn't happened yet.
And I hope it doesn't.
That's true. Do you envision a third shop, a fifth shop, a 20th shop?
Being in the military and being a police officer, you tend to keep that same tight circle of friends. Mm-hmm. And so even though I have left the police department, I still keep in touch not only with my my old coworkers and especially from my old unit, but then I still talk to the officers that have left police work and have become small business owners, much like myself. And as the saying says, Steve, iron sharpens iron, right? And so what I do is I meet with them and I look at them and bounce a lot of my questions and challenges that I'm experiencing through them. So to answer your question, would I be looking at possibly a third shop? Never say never, number one. Yeah. But I can tell you that right now, I'm just trying to get store number 2 under my feet. Yeah. And I have a great manager. And in fact, both of my shops, my managers are awesome. Awesome. And awesome would be an understatement. I really try to practice servant leadership and work to work closely with my managers and help them grow and then help them succeed any way I possibly can. And so right now we are working on our second shop, getting that running the way we would like it to, and basically going back to some of our fundamentals that we did with our first shop with, having community involvement. And if I can make a plug, I'm doing a Pie It Forward program.
I saw that on
my
Facebook.
very first Pie It Forward program.
You took pies to Arlington Fire Department?
Yes. Yep. And so we decided to partner with the fire department first. Don't worry, police. We will partner with you shortly. But we decided, and I'll throw this on my wife. I asked my wife. I said, "What do you think, police or fire, that we partner first with?" And she says, "Let's do fire." I said, and so I'll blame my wife for the decision.
There you go.
From any of the backlash that my police cohorts are going to give me, but. We're doing a Pie It Forward program, and we are promoting our lemon ice box for the month of June. And so 10% of our proceeds for our pies, for that particular pie, will go to the Mansfield Firefighters Benevolent Fund, and that's partnering with our Mansfield shop. And for our Arlington shop, we chose the Arlington Professional Firefighters Charitable Organization. And again, proceeds from each sale of lemon ice box in our Arlington store will go to that charitable organization. And that's running for the whole month of June.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Police department, they're coming.
Yes.
Two-part question.
Yes, sir.
What's your best-selling pie, and what is your personal favorite pie?
Okay, so best-selling pie, I think for both my shops, it's running probably neck and neck between chocolate and key lime.
Oh, my.
Yeah, chocolate and key lime tends to be kind of the surprise. Not surprise, but it tends to be one of our top sellers. Pecan is always up there, but that's our staple. And I think what happens is that it's also seasonal. It's a heavier pie, right? And so, I think as we round the summer months, then, some of our lighter pies tend to do that, which is also another reason why I chose lemon icebox, because it's a lighter pie, just like our key lime.
Right.
And so my personal favorite is the I-40. And so the I-40 is named after the major freeway in Knoxville, just like our I-20 or I-30 here in DFW. And it's our pecan pie with chocolate chips and coconut. And that's my particular favorite. I've always been a pecan pie person, but when I tried that, I immediately fell in love. Have it warmed up with a la mode, that's my favorite.
I had never had pecan pie until moving to Texas, and now it's become one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And but the I-40 sounds awesome with the coconut, the chocolate chips. Yeah, I could go for that.
Yeah.
And I-40 it goes through Texas through Amarillo, and from Tennessee. I don't recall if I-40 actually goes. I think it does go all the way out to California, but I do know it goes through Amarillo.
Yes.
And give the listeners where your two locations are, and here comes your 30-second elevator pitch.
All right. So we are a scratch bakery, do everything in-house.
In-house.
Everything from our pie crust to our pie fillings to our toppings, our whipped toppings. We specialize in pies. We also do cookies in-house as well, using our homemade shortbread crusts. So we are pushing out for the summer months our pie parfaits, which is basically just like the fillings minus the crust, if you will. My Mansfield location is located at 3150 East Broad Street, Suite 110. We're right there located next to the Chick-fil-A and the Sonic near the fire station out there. My Arlington location is located at 1707 North Collins Street, Suite 115 in Champions Park, northeast corner of Collins and I-30.
Oh, okay.
So there's a Cava and Urban Chicken out there as well.
Gotcha.
So,
North Arlington.
Yes, North Arlington.
Okay. When you were a detective running away from Rottweilers, did you ever think you'd be baking pies?
Never in a million years. But that's the beauty of it, Steve. What I hope to be is an inspiration to not only my children, but, to let them know, what, your dad if he can do this at 52, right?
My dad can do anything.
Then you can, you could do the Navy stuff. You could do the nursing stuff. Because if I could do this, then so can you. But then not only that, but then I also hope to be, an inspiration to my brothers and sisters in blue and red, to let them know that, what, police work or firefighter work isn't all that you can be. Yep. You could branch out. You could do something that you love. Learn a craft, do something, and yes, it's a very honorable profession. I love it, and it got me to where I am today. And thank you, Jesus. But still to this point, what I did was I would like to just say, I wanted to do something completely out of my wheelhouse, and I have not regretted it 1 second, Steve.
As we start to wrap up this interview, is there anything that you thought that I was going to ask that I didn't ask? And if so, what would the answer to that question be?
I was surprised that you actually started talking about things in my past, especially in my family. So I was very pleasantly surprised that you actually did quote unquote, some research.
Oh.
You did some police work, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. But you know what? I welcome the opportunity and that I got to come to your show, and I got to not only speak and tell my story, but you allowed me to also promote a small business in our neighboring communities. You know, I think it was a fabulous opportunity to come in here and speak. And I'm very thankful.
Go see Allen at Buttermilk Sky Pie here in the Mansfield location, or at the North Arlington location on Collins there at I-30. Allen, this has been one of the longer interviews that I've done. Usually we go about 45 minutes or so. We've gone an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
And time just flies by. And it's, our paths have only crossed a couple of times. The ribbon cutting, maybe a taste of Mansfield. I haven't really had a chance to get to know you, and I'm a better person knowing what you have gone through. And thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Hey, no, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and giving me the opportunity to speak and tell my story.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we will talk in studio with yet another fine Mansfield resident. Or are they a Mansfield resident? You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. In the meantime, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, elevate, celebrate, support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never, ever, ever send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Mansfield Military Moment, Nike Harrison. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without prior written consent is strictly prohibited. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo with the official local media partner of North Texas SC. This is About Mansfield.